21st century medicine is advancing at a blinding pace. But many doctors are the first to admit they don't have all the answers. For every modern miracle cure, there can also be a traditional home remedy, a herbal alternative, or an ancient therapy people swear by. Many of these treatments have been handed down the generations. But how many of them actually work?
Hello. Step into my office.
Thank you.
I'm Jan Fran,
Why do you think it works?
and in this new series, we meet the everyday Australians who claim their homespun health cures work miracles.
What do you got? Plain yogurt or dandruff?
It is hemp kombucha.
Breastfeeding enhancing smoothie.
The most promising treatments will be scientifically trialled by an independent research team.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
But first, they have to convince our team of medical experts.
This could be life-changing for the health of Australians.
Journalist and doctor Ginny Mansberg,
I'm trying to fight my science brain. I really am.
medical research specialist Professor Ash Hay,
I just have to make a confession. I'm a convert.
and groundbreaking neurosurgeon Dr. Charlie Teo.
Everyone thinks of medicine as being black and white, that we have the answers to everything. It's not true. In fact, many of these alternative treatments may be the answer that we've been searching for decades.
It cures a cough and it's a beer.
Yeah.
With diverse remedies,
I'm a laughter researcher.
I make my own deodorant.
I believe I've discovered a cure for baldness.
Baldness?
Yeah.
from the traditional
My grandfather passed down to my father, and now it's passing on to me.
This is the Peruvian smell. You probably feel
I've
that.
smelled that before.
to the controversial.
Drink it and you should be cured.
Cured.
Cured. This saved my vagina.
And extreme.
It's maggot tea.
No.
way is that going up my...
Oh my God.
The pressure is on to decide
It tastes great.
which treatments are worthy of a real-world scientific trial.
Asha, I'm going to completely disagree with you here. I think this is everything that this show is about.
This is medicine or myth. For some people, looking backwards is the key to a healthier future. Malaysian-born Andrew's respect for the past is his key ingredient to healing.
My great-grandfather was a herbalist, and I've always had this curiosity and fascination, with the old Chinese herbalists.
It's really important that we bring in traditional Chinese medicine into the modern world right now, because all these remedies have been used for such a long time.
Chinese herbs are Andrew's passion, and he's determined to preserve his family's heritage by sharing some of their secrets.
This is actually bringing back tradition and heritage and a little bit of who I am. Hello, how are you?
I'm very well. Look like you've got a platter of goodness here for us.
Yes, I do. This is a cough remedy, and it helped me when I had whooping cough as a child.
Oh, is that how you came to know about it?
That's right. My grandmother made it for me. And it's actually a really ancient Chinese remedy.
So
Yeah.
there's some kind of scientific basis behind this, do you reckon?
There is. You put a couple of herbs and fruits and, together, the synergy of it just makes that formula work.
What do you reckon our doctors are going to say about your remedy?
Don't know. They'll have to try it.
Have fun in there.
Thank you very much.
Andrew is hoping his soothing tea will convince the panel to study it further.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Andrew.
I can see you've got your science goggles on.
Yes, I do. They make me look intelligent.
They do.
And my remedy today is an ancient traditional Chinese remedy for severe coughs.
This is your own recipe?
I've used this since I had whooping cough as a child. And my grandmother...
Here we go. So there's much more history.
Much more to it, yeah. So my grandmother actually made it for me because I was coughing so much that the capillaries in my lungs were starting to break and I was starting to cough blood. Yeah, in the old Chinese, they call it the 100-day cough.
And we
that's-
call that in the modern Australian too.
Is it really? I didn't know that.
Although studies actually show that you cough much longer than 100 days.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So
Obviously
it
worked.
worked. It really soothed the system, and it stopped the dry cough from being that dry.
Now, have you always had an interest in Chinese medicine?
I am a herbalist by trade, so
You've been practicing for many years now?
for about 15 years. I think I've always had that interest.
Wanting to be a healer of other people.
Wanting to be a healer, but I also love the ritual and, picking out herbs, like going with my mother and grandmother to the old apothecary and seeing all those drawers of herbs, and they just go, what do you have? They check your pulse, and then they start picking stuff up and weigh it in this little scale. It's just, as a child, it's magical.
You're a different person to me. I rejected my past. I wanted to become Australianised.
Right.
I didn't want to have anything to do with my Chinese past. I was mocked at school, subjected to racial vilification, and the last thing I wanted to do was to embrace my past. Now that I have, recently, I must say that I share the same sentiments as you.
Thank you.
So you said this is works on whooping cough. That's an infection, isn't it, of pertussis?
It's really serious in babies who
That's
can die.
Right.
But it's just difficult with this cough that it's exhausting.
But do adults get whooping cough?
Well, yes. The evidence at the moment in Australia is that the group who suffer the most from whooping cough are the elderly. And they are debilitated by it. They lose their sleep, they are weakened, they are exhausted, and then they're prone to catching other things. And in fact, that's another bugbear of mine. I think we should be vaccinating more elderly people against whooping cough, because even it's not a perfect vaccine, it's a whole lot better than catching it unvaccinated.
Despite a national vaccination program, whooping cough is still common. The most recent data reveals more than 20,000 reported cases of the disease in Australia.
So how do you prepare it?
It's really, really simple. It's basically figs, north and south apricot kernels, honey dates, rock sugar, and apple.
Yum.
Put it all into a pot with 3 litres of water, and you boil it down.
And you drink it like a tea.
And you drink it like a tea. So figs are usually used in Chinese remedies for coughs. The rock sugar will help the tickle in the throat. Dates in Chinese medicine, it's all about pulling everything together. And it also helps with the gut. And as you know, all your serotonin and melatonin is made in your gut. So if you can produce more of that in your remedy, it will help you rest and therefore get well faster. And the apple, besides the fact that it's high in antioxidants, also nourishes the bodies. Because I guess when you're coughing the way that I did, you really don't have the energy to eat. And sometimes just that little bit of nourishment will help.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd love to taste it.
Yeah, of course.
It just sounds so good.
Fig
apple.
Tastes amazing. And it's quite a unique flavour from the north and south apricot kernels. There you go.
Thank you very much, Stanley.
Thank you.
Lucky lass.
See how respectful he was? He gave it to the eldest person first.
Thank
I like
you.
that.
There you go.
All right, guys.
Okay, cheers. Bottoms up.
Yum.
It is nice. It's a bit sweet.
It is very sweet, yes. People love and come back to this remedy because it just tastes nice. And it's great for kids. Kids can have it. There's no side effects to it.
Chronic cough is a problem. I do know that we don't address it very well. I like the fact that you've combined folklore with science, and you've come up with very specific quantities of these components, and they all have a reason behind them.
That's right.
And I must say that if I had to vote, I'd be voting for this to be taken to a trial.
Oh, thank you.
From the conventional scientific perspective, I'm interested. And I know that some Chinese medicines have been studied by Western medicines, and some active ingredient has been isolated. So I'm really interested in it. Absolutely, there's so much more for science to try and investigate what's going on. So I think we should send this to trial.
Wonderful.
I've polished mine off. I would drink this all day
Oh my
because
God, you have to.
I know, I love it. I think it has everything that I love in there.
I think we're going to take this to trial.
Oh, fantastic. This is really exciting.
It's very exciting.
Yeah. Now I can actually see what my grandmother gave me, from the scientific perspective as well. Thank you.
Excellent, Andrew. Cheers.
Cheers.
We'll delve deeper into Andrew's remedy later in the program.
Oh, you got a trial.
I know, it's pretty exciting.
Congratulations.
Yes,
How you
thank you.
feeling?
It comes out that it's fantastic. Great, people need to know this remedy, and if it's not, it's a placebo, then we'll just have to enjoy it. For the taste of it, it's a win-win either way.
Earlier, Andrew presented the panel with a traditional remedy for relieving whooping cough, which they agreed to send for further study.
So I think we're going to take this to trial.
Oh, fantastic. This is really exciting. Now I can actually see what my grandmother gave me, from the scientific perspective as well. Thank you.
For the purposes of this study, we've enlisted scientists to give us an independent analysis of Andrew's key ingredients. Charlie's come to the National Institute of Complementary Medicine to meet Dr. Caroline E. She's trained in both Western and Chinese medicine.
What I think the main ingredients are that help with the cough relieving effect are apricot kernels. There have been a couple of animal trials in mice, and somehow they managed to induce cough, and they gave them a formula that contained exactly these ingredients, so the apricot kernels, and they did find that the mice stopped coughing. These here are grown in the south, and these are a sweeter, sort of gentler kernel. The apricot kernels that are grown in the north of China, so these smaller ones here.
Right.
So these are a bit more bitter, and they're considered by Chinese to be a little bit more toxic.
Toxic.
It's been reported in the traditional literature that, you should be careful, but I think that's in large doses.
Okay.
So I think in these doses that were prescribed in the home remedy, I think that would be okay.
Okay.
Potential toxicity is a serious concern, so Dr. E has sent the kernels to the lab for further analysis.
When we started testing the remedy and we saw that it contained amygdalin, which may help to suppress coughs.
Initial findings reveal the kernels contain traces of amygdalin, a plant toxin that belongs to the cyanide group. This could be a major stumbling block for Andrew.
When you extract it, you could concentrate that component and then end up with a very toxic extract. So in listed medicines, there's not allowed to be any amygdalin detected. In a medicine, it's very tightly regulated. As a food, they're allowed to contain the amygdalin, which is one of the major active components. The levels that we see are quite low, so it's safe.
Now that his tea is safe enough to drink, we'll find out next if it actually works. The time has come to reveal the results for Andrew's herbal tea for relieving whooping cough.
I had whooping cough as a child, so my grandmother actually made it for me. Hello.
Hello.
Andrew.
I believe you're more colourful than when we last saw you.
Always try to be as colourful as possible.
So, Andrew, you brought us a Chinese traditional medicine herbal tea for the treatment of coughs.
But we found it really interesting, and we sent it off to the National Institute of Complementary Medicine. The scientists there look at what you were recommending in your remedy to see if it actually had any of a scientific merit to it.
I'm really excited to hear this.
So, an antitussive agent is an anti-cough agent.
Yep.
In fact, two of the components have strong antitussive components in the form of a substance called amygdalin, which is a well-known antitussive. The fig has amygdalin in it, and also the North and South Chinese apricot kernels. To the extent where it's probably of the same or very similar concentration as those tested in animal studies as an antitussive agent.
Oh,
So,
right, okay.
Yeah. The concentrations were very similar to those in this particular study on mice and their reaction to a particular agent that caused coughs, and it suppressed the cough in those mice. So absolute scientific evidence to show that components in these substances actually do have an anti-coughing effect.
Wonderful. We know that a lot of over-the-counter cough medicines are not recommended, particularly for younger children, because the side effects outweigh the benefits. And we couldn't really find anything that had any major red flags on it. So that was quite interesting and quite hopeful for parents.
We really appreciate you bringing this to our attention, to the public's attention. Good luck with your entire tea philosophy, and have a great day.
Thank you very much. See ya.
See ya.
I'm really excited that this remedy truly works and it's scientifically proven now. And I'm just excited to share it with everyone.